We are here in Cancun at the Westin Laguna Mar. You can see the logo right there on the window. There we are. At the Westin Laguna Mar, one of our favorite resorts. And today it's going to be a little stormy, at least for a few. So what we're going to do is get a bunch of stuff cooked and prepped in the kitchen. So later when we want to come in between the sunshine and the raindrops, we can just grab a quick lunch or a snack or something. So let me spin you around. Here's more of the resort, and I will show you the kitchen where we will be cooking with Cinful very shortly.
Good morning, I am Cinful, aka Cindy, and we are timeshare cooking at the Westin Laguna Mar in Cancun, Mexico, which is one of my favorite places to be because of the incredible pool that looks right out onto the ocean. We have this awesome room, and today we're actually going to be preparing a lot of stuff for us for the next couple of days so that when we feel like getting some food from the pool, we'll just be able to run up here, grab some stuff out of the fridge and do it really fast. So we're going to start out with some eggs this morning. We're going to do some hard-boiled eggs, which are super easy. Hard-boiled eggs, boil them for about 10 minutes. The key to getting shells off hard-boiled eggs though is to cool them down really fast. So you want to make sure that you put them in a lot of ice right after they're cooked so that you can get the shells off easily. That will help you with that. And so we just got a flat of eggs. Amy and I actually shopped at the local market called Aquí versus going down to the Walmart, which is where most of us gringos would go in Cancun. And so we went to the local market, and our choices are a little bit more limited, but it's a little bit more fun to try to find the stuff that you like. And when you can't find the stuff you like, then you just have to improvise, which is what we really do well. So we're going to start with some eggs. We'll do some hard-boiled eggs. At some point this morning, we're also going to make just a couple of fried eggs and some toast for ourselves. And then we're also going to make some guacamole. And we were not able to find lemon pepper at the local market, which is my secret ingredient to guacamole. So we're just going to use just a standard salt and pepper mix with a little bit of lime juice. We are also going to make a tomatillo avocado salsa, which is just some tomatillas, garlic, cilantro, and avocados in a blender. That's that easy. I'm going to make a little bit of cucumber tomato salad with a little bit of vinegar to dress that up a little bit, and that'll be nice. We're going to make that early because when it sits in the refrigerator, all those flavors sink in and makes it really yummy. And then we are going to make our cheater salsa. So here in Cancun, one of the great brands of salsa is Herdes, and this is their salsa casera, and we will just be tossing this in the blender to make sure that Miss Double Portions, aka Amy, doesn't see any of those onions in there. So what else are we doing this morning? A little bit of tuna salad, and that's just for us to have out of the pool because we like it. And literally, little mayonnaise, little tuna, little sweet relish, and got it made. Believe it or not, the Aquí had sweet relish. Go figure. Okay, we're gonna start with our tomatillo salsa, and tomatillos have this little peel on them, and just gonna peel that right off, and I'm gonna take a little bit of water, rinse off. It's almost a little sticky, so you know, just don't worry about that. And I'm gonna do that with each of them, and then I'm gonna toss them in my pan of boiling water for just a few seconds. We just want to blanch them, get them nice and soft. And I probably should pull the stem off of that one too, right? Pull the stem off of that one. And we've got one more. We're gonna use 3 of those. We're gonna use 2 avocados. And we're gonna use a whole bunch of stinky garlic because it's awesome and good for you. All right, so I'm just gonna put my tomatillas right into my boiling water. Gently, of course, so I don't hurt myself. All right, I'm stuck. There we go. I'm doing this on a spoon because you don't want to plop them and have the hot water come back and burn you. So we're just going to leave those in there for a minute or so. You can see I've got a lot of oil and a lot of steam going on here. In the meantime, while those are sitting there, I'm going to work on my avocados. By the way, timeshares don't always have the best utensils. So right now I'm using a steak knife to cut my avocado. Please be careful when you're using these utensils. I also don't have a whisk and I don't have a masher, so I'll be using a fork and some other things and getting real creative. Now, our avocados this week weren't so ripe, but in the Tomatillo Salsa, it's okay because the blender is going to chop them up quite a bit, just as long as you can get it out of its skin. Maybe I can get it out of its skin. Or maybe I can cut it a little closer. Let's try that one more time. This avocado is not cooperating. Wow. All right, there it is. Okay, I'm gonna run over and grab my tomatillos back out of the water here. And I'm gonna put them right into my blender. That feels pretty good. I'm just gonna toss them right in. What this does is it softens up the skin a little bit so that you don't have to peel them. And the blender will just make them nice. All right, because these were challenging, I'm gonna wait on those for a moment. I'm gonna work on my garlic here first. And I'm gonna put about 4 little toes of garlic in this bucket. That seems like a lot, but it's really not. Yummy, yummy garlic. And I'm just gonna, thankfully I have thumbnails so I can peel that just like that. And I'm gonna put them right in there whole, because if the blender works well, it will chop them up. If it doesn't, we'll have them chunky, but either way, they'll still be tasty. So just make sure you get all that extra skin off there. And just toss them in your blender. I'm eating a taste tester chip there, so. So I've now taken my tomatillos, I put them in the blender along with my toes of garlic, 4 toes of garlic, and avocados. Now our avocados were really, really firm, so we were very challenged to get the skins off. And in this case, it's okay to have them be firm like this. Probably wouldn't be my ideal. I prefer fresher, riper, but didn't work out that way, so we're just gonna improvise. And then Amy had the awesome idea of using the peeler to actually get the peels off, which was much smarter than trying to use a knife and hurt yourself. Speaking of knives, the one thing that we do want you to be aware of is when you're taking out an avocado seed, don't ever use your knife to stab it or stab it like this. I used to do that. We have a friend who actually sliced her tendon, had to have it reattached, and her hand is never going to be the same. So now I often just try to squeeze the avocado as much as I can to get that seed to start pulling out of there, and then you can just lift it out. Or when they're hard like this, you can almost twist it. But you know, it's okay to lose a little bit of the avocado in order to save your hand. So make sure that you're doing it that way. Now, because these are a little harder, I am cutting them up a little bit before I put them in my blender so it can handle them. Because at least in my experience, blenders and timeshares aren't all that hardy. So there's my seed. I have a little bit of extra peel here. No, peel that off. Wow, that's a challenge. And you may hear my water boiling back there. I've put my dozen eggs in the water to start boiling for our egg salad later. And again, just chunk these up a bit. Get them in the blender. You see how hard this avocado is. Chef Mario Batali would be wanting to choke me right now for using these beautiful unripe avocados, but oh well. All right, love you, Mario. We're just gonna put that in our blender, and we're gonna add a little bit of our, grab that, let's find some scissors over here somewhere. We're gonna add a little bit of our salt and pepper mix for flavor. You actually do, I'm not a big fan of salt, but you do want at least a liberal amount in this particular dish because it does help to give it flavor. And then I've got a clean bunch of cilantro down here. I'm just actually gonna take some of the cilantro. I use the stems and all. I think all of it works really well, and you should use as much of it as possible. So I'm gonna take a bunch of that and stick it in my blender here and I may have to add a little bit of water in order to make it work properly. So I'm just gonna bring it over to my sink and about that much. And here we go. Plug your ears. So I have added a little bit more water to my blender because it was stuck. All right, and this is what it's gonna look like. Now, here comes the real test. We have to taste it to find out. I'm just gonna put a little bit in, and let's see how we did. Ooh, that's pretty good. So a couple things we noticed, being that this was the first time we made Tomatillo Avocado Salsa, look at how thick that got. So you remember when I poured it in from the blender, it wasn't that thick. Ooh, there's a big hunk in there somewhere, I can feel it. But see how thick it got? And it even kind of warmed up a bit. And we've decided, after doing a bit of taste testing off camera, that we really think that we need to add just a little bit of lime to it. So I'm just gonna squeeze a little bit of lime juice. There's that quarter of a lime again, right on the top. Nice and get it all over. And you can even put a lime in as a garnish if you want. It's up to you. And I don't even think I'm gonna stir that in. I think we're just gonna scoop it. This was our first attempt at this, and I have to say, pretty impressed. High five, DP.